Your face, my rage start to burn. Now is the time for you to learn. I'm free from you and all my it breaks down. You can control me, 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 you can control me. Mine, and I take it back. The way you lie is so fucking bad. I'm free from you, and all my hate breaks down. You can control me, 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 you can control me. Tell me, I won't do what you tell me. You can control me, 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 you can control me.
Welcome to the Cosmic Hutch. As you can see, we have a special guest whose afternoon is mince pie at the moment. So this is a Cosmic Hutch with a difference because as many of you may be well aware, the previous 6 episodes they've carried an undercurrent of a mission that we were heavily involved in seeing through to the bitter end. And we did. Mission accomplished. Phonox Nights got released. Last episode's drunken celebration party,
Sweep's fault entirely,
which I entirely blame on Sweep's sausage cocktail. Even then, the album wasn't out. Well, the album's out. It's selling very nicely, thank you.
It's been burst.
Yeah, it's got rave reviews. So mission accomplished, and this is the first toast. So we're very happy about that. And now, obviously, when you see this, it's 2 days to Christmas. So we have a slight seasonal flavour. We're going to change the flavour of the hutch because, now we got to the end of that task that was basically 4 years for Nina and 18 months for me. Now we got there, we're going to do... well, I haven't really said what I do.
No, I'm going to kick back a little bit. I think I've said enough already. And I'm just going to enjoy listening to your war stories, Kris.
Yeah,
I may chip in every now and again.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Anyway, shall I begin? I'll have a bite of mince pie. Oh dear.
There's cream there.
Oh shit.
It is Bailey's cream though. Next to the avocado. My plan was mulled wine, but there wasn't any. So I thought the next best thing was avocado. which I haven't had since I stole it from my parents' drinks cabinet when I was about 10. And as the hutch has very limited crockery, I found this rather lovely little teacup.
Right, well, I'm going to launch into this after I've shown you. This is the first Christmas present I remember getting.
I think it would look very nice on Binky over her Christmas pudding jumper.
I did have the full gun holster. I was very into someone called Roy Rogers. He was on the TV.
You were that small.
And I fit into this quite well.
What still?
Right,
As
it's a bit
pants.
tight. But yeah, I couldn't believe it when I was clearing out my mum's house a couple of years ago. I came across it, and yeah, I was so excited. Had a cowboy hat, the whole lot.
Lovely.
I thought I was the Lone Ranger at one point.
Oh, you are the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger.
Should we put a cracker?
Yes, I was just looking at it, thinking that.
Shall we do something festive? Right.
Found a folk hair.
There we go, let's put the plug out. 1, 2, 3. Hey, they didn't go bang, did they?
I don't know if they're meant to.
They're dog-friendly ones.
Rabbit-friendly ones.
What's in here? It's a piece of wood. I don't know what it does.
I've got a piece of wood as well.
There we go. I don't know what that piece of wood does.
It's a Christmas tree.
It's a half a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Let's see what it has.
Looks like a pair of mole's underpants from where I'm sitting. Look, it looks like a Y-front.
It's not even wood. It's...
You know, I've got half a Christmas tree.
I've got... oh, is it a bell?
Oh, hang on, it's bendy.
I know. Oh, has it got something in it?
Why was the snowman looking through the carrots? He was picking his nose.
Ah.
Whee!
Hey. Anyway, on with the show.
When I came back from America in 1990, I came back to find out I'd missed Acid House, basically.
I know.
I'd been in the gutter in New York. It'd have been great the first 2 or 3 years, but the last couple of years did get a bit tricky. Oh look. Come on then. Right, this should be interesting. So, I came back from New York and in fact, I'd missed Acid House, and as you'll hear somewhere else in this episode, I was joined by a lady I met in New York called Wonder. It would be fair to say that I may well not be sitting here if it wasn't for a lady called Wonder, who happens to be sitting right there.
Hello everyone, I'm Wanda.
And welcome to the Cosmic Hutch.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here in this hutch.
I've known you now for 34 years.
What?
I know.
Joking.
And it's been quite a journey, really.
Wow, yeah, it has been.
And it started in New York, where I'd been for about the previous 5 years, and it had been a difficult few years. Fun at first, but then it ended up in the dark side, and came out the other end with a job for Tommy Boy Records, running a dance magazine called Dance Music Report.
Yeah.
Now, you had gone to Germany.
I was living in Germany.
From Cleveland.
Yeah.
And because of Donna Summer?
Oh, yes. I went to Germany because I thought, well, Donna went to Germany and look how things turned out really well for her. And I had only started singing about 2 weeks before, but I thought, that's the place for me.
So you sent me your record, and it turned up, and I always remember the sleeve. I mean, you were, I've got it up there somewhere.
Loose screw.
Yeah, you were wearing quite a fetching outfit, and I thought, who is this young lady? And I gave it a really good review.
You sure did. No, what you said
Based
was,
on that.
you said, I haven't had a chance to listen to it. Call me back in a few days, and I'm going to listen. And I said, I won't be here in a few days. You said, well, where are you going? I said, actually, I'm coming to New York. And
yes,
then you said,
right.
oh, well, I'll interview you when you come to New York.
I think at that point I bent down rummaged through the pile of records under the desk and found it.
Right.
So I knew who I was talking to. Yeah, and I remember that day you arrived at the Tommy Boy office. I think De La Soul were in signing their record deal or something.
Really? Wow.
It was like that there. I mean, it was a hive of hip hop activity, and you walked right into it, and you found me in my office. And then I took you around, didn't I? Every time you came to New York from Cleveland, we had little adventures. We ended up in the back of NWA's limo.
Oh.
With Eazy-E.
Eazy-E, yeah.
And there were all sorts, because it was all going on at that time. It was a really great time, even though I was missing out on Acid House, unbeknown to me at the time. There was a lot going on in the hip-hop scene, and Digital Underground.
Yeah.
But then, I still wasn't a very... I was homeless for a start and living in the office.
Which I didn't know.
No, Wonder didn't know. They always wondered why I was early to work. And I got mugged really badly on the subway between Times Square and 49th Street. The carriage emptied and I got pummeled by a couple of guys because I ironically, I had $40 in my back pocket, which they didn't find, but they got frustrated and I've still got a few scars. So I went to Cleveland to visit Wonder.
Yes, you did. I told him, right, get on the train and come here and recover.
And what I only found out last night was that Wonder was a waitress at the time.
I was working in a...
Yeah, in a cocktail bar.
Yeah, that much is true.
And she bought me my plane ticket to go back and see my mum and dad, who I hadn't seen for 5 years.
Yeah, sent your butt right home, didn't I? So I went back to Germany, but then you were in London, and then you called and said, you should come over here, I can help you over here. And then that's when we left and came over here, and things started, a lot of people here.
Well, we hooked up with some old friends. I mean,
Yeah.
Obviously one of the first people I called was Youth. And, he stuck me in with his engineer, Matt Austin.
Right.
That kind of tested the water, and then we moved on.
Yeah.
And I was embarking on remixing and the joy of sampling. I'd done it in New York with a hip-hop guy. I'd made a couple of tracks with from my record collection, but I wanted to try that out here because I've got quite a big one, a record collection. Yes, and I started wanting to make tracks, and that's what I did with various engineers, and found quite a good one. I had one out with Infinite. Finally, though, we pressed up our own white label called Make Me Scream.
Make Me Scream, baby.
Yeah, which was a sample from an old, what's his name? Chicago house record, and you sang a hook based around that.
Yeah.
And I sent one to John Peel, and he played. The other side was really terrible horror hardcore, wasn't it? And
yeah.
Peel played that side.
Did he play Worst Nightmare?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
He thought it was really funny. He actually phoned up my mum to tell me that he was going to be playing my record that night, because he didn't have the phone number. So he had a long conversation with my mum
As you
before
did.
John Peel played the first Secret Knowledge single, which was quite an honour.
Yeah.
And then we were still looking to get the record out, and I think we got one to Andrew Weatherall. I'd interviewed Andrew with Jar Wobble at Orinoco Studio in '91, and it's fair to say it was like interviewing Morecambe and Wise. I mean, I'd known Wobble because I was Wobble's tour manager in around 1980, and back when he was a bit of a wild man, and I ended up falling down the stairs in Holland. And I don't think I'd seen him much since then. So I've seen him with Andrew, who not really met properly, but Andrew and Wobble, they were going on about making a fly on the wall documentary about a fly on the wall. It was that level. I'd gone to see Wobble. Andrew was DJing, and that was the first time we met. It was when he had really long hair with leather kecks, and you know, we talked after his set, and he said he read Zigzag and loved the Clash.
Right.
Although Nina will have it as Mott the Hoople fan club president was. So he also, as I've mentioned before, organised me going with him to a few gigs with Brian, the driver, you know, to catch up, because I'd missed out on Acid House completely. And I was relying on friends like Youth and Alex and now Andrew to give me a crash course. And this led to him getting the white label of Make Me Scream, and he played it at this gig we went to. Do you remember? First time we'd actually seen him DJ together, and at that point he mentioned he might be, you know, starting a record label, and would we like to come up with something for that? So got in touch with another old friend, Ben Watkins, and we went into his place, didn't we?
Yeah, Juno Reactor, his place.
Yeah. And we did Ooh Baby.
Ooh Baby.
Well, then we got Wobbling, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We did. He's a really sweetheart.
He was great. He heard the track once, didn't he?
Do 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 boom. Yeah, he's brilliant. That's a wicked bass line.
Well, basically, I mean, the next story is going to Orinoco, that same studio, and playing the track to Andrew. I went to Orinoco with a cassette of Ooh Baby, and Andrew was in there working on something, and I was set the track, all excited, because I think I'd phoned him up, you know, before, to say, yeah, we done it, Wobble's on it, da-da-da. And he said, oh yeah, bring it over. So I did, and I thought he was going to put it in the, you know, the cassette recorder in the studio, hear it on the big speakers, and he was like, right, let's go and hear it in the car. So we went out to this, whoever it was, car, and I remember I was sitting in the back seat, Andrew was sitting in the passenger seat, and put on Ooh Baby, and he was sort of sitting like this, and he started whacking the dashboard, and then when Wobble came in, he practically fell over, and he just looked round and went, can I have this for my label, please? And it was like, of course. And it was PT002.
Indeed, it was.
By this time he was working with Jags and Gary, and he said, well, the next one, I think you should do one with Jags and Gary. So I remember the night before, by this time you'd moved over. By this time we were living on New Street, and around about Ooh Baby time, Andrew had come and played in our local pub.
I remember that, yeah.
Back room holds about 120 people, and he did it for, like, you know, basically so he could bung Brian £100 or whatever, you know. So there was a lot going on, and what that led to us doing Sugar Daddy with Jags and Gary. And I remember the night before, it was kind of, we're going in with Jags and Gary tomorrow, what are we going to do? I mean, I'd had several ideas, and then you got up and tell us a bit about what happened with Sugar Daddy.
Well, it was actually a song I had written years before, and it had been called Ooh Baby. No, Oh Baby, right? And I thought, gee, we just did Ooh Baby. I can't now do Oh Baby. They'll think I've got nothing going on in my head but Oh Baby, Oh Baby. So I remember I was standing in this, there was kind of a cage vocal booth, and right before I started singing, I thought, I'll do, instead of Oh Daddy, I'll do Sugar Daddy. That's what it was. So I said, okay, you know, not even thinking, like, people told me Sugar Daddy is something everyone knows around the world, even when you don't speak English. Everyone knows what a sugar daddy is. Yeah. I hadn't put that much thought into it. I just thought, okay, I'll sing Sugar Daddy. 2 seconds later, I'm singing, right? And I remember I really got into it because I had this vocal booth. It wasn't really a vocal booth. I was more or less in a cage in this other room, and I was holding onto the cage and kind of singing and swaying with this cage, because it was a big room, like a sound room where you could do a video. So I had lots of space, and I was just in there like rocking this cage and swinging on it, getting into it.
A sound engineer's nightmare then.
Not rocking softly, just, I was having a good time though.
Good.
But, so I did that, vocals, and, but the ooh came from, we were doing a sound check for my first gig in London, which was at the YMCA or something like that. And Andrew came running across the room when he heard me do the ooh, and he said, that's it. I was like, that's what? What are you talking about? He goes, that ooh, that's got to go on the next track. I said, just that? And he said, yeah, put that in the next song. I said, okay. And that's how the woo came about.
Ah, yeah, because I forgot you sang in the Sabres band at the YMCA. You sang on Wilmot before Sugar Daddy.
Really? Okay.
But Wilmot didn't come out for a bit, did it?
Well, see, I was doing a lot of back and forth. I remember I did Wilmot and I flew to the States like a couple of days later. That's what I remember. And then when I did the thing at the YMCA, I had food poisoning for like 4 days. And my legs were still wobbly. I was like, oh God, I hope I'm going to be able to do this. It was my first gig in London, and I was really nervous. And I just remember going to the bathroom and meeting, what's his name from Leeds, Back to Basics?
Dave Beer.
Yes, Dave Beer was in the women's bathroom.
Of course he was.
With his big furry hat. I was like,
Really?
who's this guy in the
Surprised.
women's bathroom? And all the girls are like kind of around him, And he's in this the ladies' room, just, you can imagine what he was doing, but he was having a right good old time, and he was a sweetheart.
When does he not?
Yeah, really. That was my first, that's the main thing I remember from that night, was Dave in the bathroom.
Being American via Germany and everything that you knew, how did it feel meeting people like Nina and Andrew, for instance?
No, just the whole thing was bonkers. I'm like, these guys are truly mad. But the sense of humor I loved right away. I love the British humor. And it was totally night and day, and I just loved it. I just fell in love with England. I'd be in the pub and hear like 4 or 5 different dialects going on, and I'd say, when I met you in New York, you were talking one way and I could totally understand you, but when you got back home, you fell into your slang, your dialect.
I didn't know that.
And I was like, what the fuck's he on about now? I can't understand him anymore, Yeah, you were saying things. One day, remember the time when you told me I was going down the street and you told me, stop whinging. I said, whinging? What's it mean? And you told me it means like complaining and blah, 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 blah. Because we were walking in the rain and I was upset about that. And I said, I'm not whinging, I'm full bitch mode. Blah, 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 right? Then we go over to this couple's house, and Annie and Warren, and I was trying to tell them that Kris told me to stop whinging, and they were there with their parents and everything, older couple, we were having dinner, and I told them, Kris told me to stop wanking. And everybody at the table kind of went like, oh, I thought, oh dear, what
I remember that.
What have I said? I thought I was whinging. Oh shit, I told them I was masturbating down the road. And Annie looked at me and said, you were doing what? I said, oh, naughty girl, she's trying to make me say it again. I'm like, no. So I switched it to whinging. So that's when I learned whinging from wanking.
Well, you learn something every time.
Oh, every day you learn something.
So, back to Sugar Daddy.
Yeah, yes, of course.
And I remember we were there in New Street. We knew we were doing the Woo. And then there was a documentary about Billie Holiday on the TV. And that made you start singing Sugar Daddy.
I wrote this song years ago. It goes like this. And I snapped my fingers and sang that. And you said, oh, That's it.
Yes.
And we went in the next day and did it with finger snaps and all.
Yeah, well, I mean, she
And
sang the whole Sugar Daddy, and it's only this song dropped out of the sky, which I didn't know existed, and it was like, right, and that got me thinking, this has got to be Billie Holiday meets Giorgio Moroder on acid, and that was kind of like when I walked into Orinoco and talking to Jags and Gary, that's basically what I said to them, and they responded. I mean, they remain. That remains one of the greatest days of my entire life.
Really?
Probably yours too. Because Sugar Daddy sort of assumed a life around Wonder's vocal at the beginning. Because you went in and did it first take, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think you did another one as you do. But
As you do.
it was first take,
Yeah.
And Jags just rose to the occasion with the percussion and
that brilliant, they did a mix that I always loved called Sugar Daddy, Sugar Blue.
oh yeah,
That was one of my favorites.
yeah. But that's when we went back.
Oh,
'cause
you went back? Okay.
first of all, we had reports from Andrew that he played it in Brighton and the entire place was in tears.
Wow.
So we got a remix of it, and that was Ashley
Ashley
and
did.
David Holmes, who turned
David
up
Holmes.
late on pills and named it after the Who song.
Yeah, I love David Holmes' mix too.
Well, it was Ashley and David Holmes.
Oh yeah, right. But
Yeah.
of course.
Because he wasn't there for a lot of it.
Yeah, I was.
And right at that same time, they were finishing off Smoke Belch.
Right.
The day we went in, Jag said, oh, hang on a minute, I've just got to finish this one. And he was doing the military drumming. It was the David Holmes mix of Smoke Belch, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sort of went. I mean, it just took off that session, and the immediate reactions were really good. And and there we went. I mean, it got in Pete Tong's Essential New Tunes. It was there every week.
I remember the first time I heard us play it on the radio. It was Pete Tong, yes, Secret Knowledge. Yeah, I was bouncing off the walls. He said, this next single has a very brilliant vocalist who's the sexiest thing I've heard since Madonna. And she goes by the name of Wonder, Secret Knowledge. And the song came on, knocked me off my feet.
So what else do you remember about Andrew and Nina and Sabres and everything then?
The nights we spent over in the big long table and the breakfast and the dinners rather, and the mayhem that went on there, and the rabbits.
It was a lot of rabbits.
A load of rabbits going on in the garden.
Well, we recorded the guinea pigs, and then at that time we were working with Bent under the Westway, weren't we? And we booked his studio to go in and do the Rabbits, featuring Ice Bun, which was for
Fish Ice Bun.
And that got you onto Sabres, because we really wanted Wonder to be on Sabres. So it was
Honestly,
you got to play that again for me.
the Rabbits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fast.
Yeah.
yeah, it was quite
I
banging.
gotta hear
wasn't
those.
it? I wasn't quite over my bum dungeon stage.
No,
at that point.
It was 100
Andrew was kind of getting weirder with the emissions audio output, and I think I was still angry.
150 BPM,
That
yes.
was a proper thumper, wasn't it?
It really was. But, Gagan, at that point, all the Bastard Bunny and... Do you remember all the rabbit? I mean, for me, this was paradise, being a lifelong rabbiteer. And then suddenly, here is a rabbit comic, Bastard Bunny character, rabbit t-shirts, and doing a rabbit record. And this is all...
With the proceeds going to the Cambridge Cavy Trust.
Yes.
Guinea Pig Hospital.
That's right. Yeah, and then it kind of, life took its path. I mean, we did the Afterworld and stuff, and
that was for my
then
cousin.
there were some difficult years, and but now you're back.
The Afterworld was for my cousin who had AIDS and he was dying, but I was able to sing it to him before he died, which was really great for me because I wanted something tribute to him, but I wanted him to be alive to hear it, you know. So I sat on the bed and sang it to him. In the afternoon, will I see you again? Will I be long lost friend? In the afterworld, I'll see you again. We'll fly high one day soon. I send you love to your world. As I travel along. Be with me, help me find peace. I'll sing you, I'll love you once again. In the afterworld, I'll see you and you in the afterworld. I'll see you right in the afterworld. We'll be together once again afterworld.
How did it feel to be singing in Whitcomb Church?
Oh, it's a beautiful church. You know, it's like, wow, this is like this church is from the 1300s. My country wasn't even around then. So it was, and the acoustics were, you know, just brilliant, and you didn't need a mic or anything, you know. And then and I had a great time with Nina and Binky, you know, and we just had really a lot of fun that day.
And yesterday, we did some recording.
Oh, yesterday was wicked.
Hey.
Yesterday was wicked.
If a little unprepared.
I think we had a lot of fun, and we did some really nice, we did our job, as Andrew would say. We did our job.
And how was it, because you knew Nina running Sabres and Sabrettes.
Yeah.
And the other day, when you first came over, you didn't really know that Nina, since you'd last seen her, has become rather adept at working the knobs in the studio.
Nina grew up. Nina was a young thing when I was here before, you know, quite lovely, you know, but I didn't know her as well, even as I've been able to observe her in the last few days. And, you know, she's quite a mensch. She's quite a mensch. Not just with, I mean, you know, her business acumen, knowing how to do things. I'm talking about her soul. Her soul is beautiful. And that's what I've appreciated learning in the last couple of days I've been here. And she may have felt the same way about me, because when you know more about a person and how they are in their heart, you know, it's like, okay, all right, I get her. Was I was this, was I was this, was I was say. Ja!
That's when I first met Nina and Andrew, and ended up on Sabres of Paradise and Sabrettes. So I carried on writing. I was writing by this time for Echoes, Music, Mix Mag, all those. I saw it on a level, Liquid Death. I saw it on a level with punk. It reminded me of, you know, all those, obviously it wasn't kind of the music, but the attitude and the DIY nature and the independent labels. And to me, Nina and Andrew were punks, which Andrew readily admitted when we first, because it turned out he'd read Zigzag when I was doing all this punk stuff. So I thought, right, next, I've got to do a book properly. And I came up with the idea to do him. Now, I mean, where do you start with him? But Keith was emerging as this kind of the real dark spirit of the Stones at that time. Because Mick was doing performance. I mean, the Stones at that time were the most. There was a lot more to them than even being a teeny bop band that had gone psychedelic. They were still heading the revolution. They were leading the counterculture. They were still breaking all the rules, and Keith was emerging with the popular Keith image. But he still had never done a proper interview until they were in the south of France making Exile on Main Street, and he was on the cover of Rolling Stone, and that's when. But I started fixating on Keith's rhythm guitar playing, and I realised that was the whole backbone of the band with Charlie Watts, and I shifted my focus.
Onto Keith.
And the Keith stories just started flooding in, about he'd stay up for a week, and he was absolutely. I mean, there were a lot of drugs at that time, but there were anyway, and I was fascinated with Keith. I was continuing to see the Rolling Stones. There's my ticket stubs from '73 onwards, some of them. And Zigzag, my prime aim was to get a Keith interview. So I did. I remember I was on holiday in the Norfolk Broads with my mates, and I had to ring the Stones PR, who was Keith Altham. I had to ring him when I was from a payphone by one of the Norfolk Broads. And that's when I found out I was interviewing Keith when I went back. And I did. I went to Blake's Hotel, Anuska Hempel, the actress's hotel, little boutique place, and obviously I was nervous. I mean, I was meeting my hero for the previous 17 years, and I didn't, you'd read all the stuff, and he was basically the most fearsome looking, coolest guy on the planet, and leading the biggest band in the world. But I phoned up to his room and said who I was, and I'll be damned. And he came downstairs with Patty Hansen, who he just kicked heroin, and he came down with Patty, and he gave me a hug. How you doing, man? And then he said he wanted to do the interview at the Stones office. We were around South Kent, I think it was, and the Stones office is up the embankment, Chelsea. Oh dear. And first of all, we had to find the car, because he'd lost the car. He'd been to a nightclub the night before, and he was like, well, I'm going to drive, but we got to find the car. It's round here somewhere. So we were walking around these leafy squares, and there it was, the blue Lena, his Bentley, parked sort of halfway up a bit of an angle. And we hit it off. I mean, it was obvious I was a complete fan. I was telling him stuff, asking him already, did you play that guitar solo on that track on Beggar's Banquet? And he loved it, because he was so used to people wanting the drug stories and stuff. And we got in the car, rush hour on a Friday, and he just went from a standing start to about 50 miles an hour, and we went up the embankment literally at about 90 miles an hour. And then he overshot the turning, because he wanted to go. I
think it's 20 mile an hour limit now, isn't it?
Oh, I know. He literally, Keith was doing 80. Wow. He's legendary for this, and it was really weird sitting in the back seat. Patty was there, seeing Keith Richards' face in that mirror. I was like, and he was chatting away, chatting away so much he overshot.
Right.
Oh no, overshot, and he just did a U-turn without looking if anyone was coming, and he was getting honked at, and he was just blowing kisses, and he did a U-turn, went up Shaney Walk, and we were at the Stones office. And then I spoke to him for the next 3 hours. It was only supposed to be like an hour. He walked in, receptionist, Jack Daniels, and we did a whole bottle. he smoked all my cigarettes. I had Marlboros, and we were sitting on a couch like that one, you know, just the two of us like that, and he was taking my fag. But it was brilliant, and you know, I'll take it out of the shiny thing. And that was the start of it, and so he liked that one because he opened up about heroin in it, and he said the thing that he got him off these days was the look on the face of the dealers when he told them to fuck off. You know, he knocked it on the head, and he said, you know, that I always remember from that moment on, Keith became a bit of a mentor. I mean, he taught me a lot about how to deal with giving up heroin for a start, which I took I took a lot of notice of it about 10 years later. The experiment has ended.
Yeah.
You know, the laboratory closed down.
Yeah.
He was drinking a lot and still doing other things, but no, he was happy with Patty, and he's still with her. You know, he goes against all things, you know, like Rod Stewart's had all the millions of wives and whatever, and Keith, you know, he met Patty, love of his life, and very happy. And I got another interview with him when I was editor of Flexi Pop, the teeny bopper mag that I took round, dragged into the wrong direction and turned into a goth.
The corrupter.
Yeah, really corrupted that one. But I did another Keith interview at the Savoy, and that's where that picture over there, and that's since been released on a CD. I went to the Savoy Hotel in 1983, it would have been about June, and I did a great 2-hour interview with Keith, and then it developed into something of a session. You know, he talked about so much, and then he kept thinking of new things to talk about, and I had to go and DJ at the Batcave. I was helping out with the Batcave Club at that time in Soho, so I was like, I've got to go to the Batcave tonight, Keith. He said, oh, I'll come too. And he was going to come. You know, Pete Townsend phoned up to see what he was doing, and he was like, no, I'm going to the Batcave with Kris. And I thought, well, this is going to cause a bit of... Yeah, but in the end, his lawyer phoned up, and he had to have some legal meeting, so he couldn't go. But he said, but give me a call when the club's open, finishing, and see what I'm up to. And I called him at like 3 a.m. at the Savoy. He said, no, well, come over for a nightcap. So I went, and I was there for about another 10 hours or so. You know, it was brilliant. And so, you know, that was another good one. The following year, I was by this time living at the Coach House with youth, and some point in 84, the phone went, and it was Keith, and he said, I'm in town, I'm at the Savoy, I've got someone I want you to meet, come up. Well, all right then, just you, right, he said. And I think youth was a bit...
I want to come.
You know, but I did. I got on the 77 bus and I went to the Savoy, and there was Keith, and there was a guy called Alan Clayton.
Hello there, Christmas time cosmic hatchers. Cool, that was a mouthful. Right, this first tale was about me going to see Keith Richards in the Savoy in London, and this young journalist meeting us there during the night called Kris Needs. And I don't know what time of night it was, but sometime the guitar come out. Keith played Wild Horses, and to my surprise, I got given the guitar and told to play a song. Right, very nice, thank you. So this is a song I played, it's called The Gambler's Song. Another late night and another negotiating another loan, another late night, and another week's rent. If I could remember where it all went, I know you are up there, I know you can see. So guardian angel, get a hold on me. Just seems like lately nothing seems the same. Everything keeps drifting in and out of frame. Well, there I go, talking to myself again, but only myself to blame. Where'd the ghetto go? Sparkling eyes, she's given away by drunken man's lies. Of course, I know now why she ran away. Gave her no reasons for wanting to stay. Stuck me headed for this major catastrophe. I know you are up there, I know you can see. So do me a favor before you leave, guardian angel, knock some sense into me. Get a hold on me. Thank you.
Who had a band called the Dirty Strangers, who had been doing like the London club circuit, and I'd had them in Flexi Pop, and I got them posing in the Shepherd's Bush public toilets. There's a photo of the band having a piss. It was that kind of mad. and and Keith was like, "This is my friend Alan," and it turned out that Keith had produced Alan's band's first album. He pretty much paid for the studio, played on it, brought Ronnie along. Keith and Al were best mates, and they still are. Often from afar.
Mm-hmm.
And at about 4 a.m, and I wasn't there to interview Keith. He was playing his music hall tapes, Stanley Holloway and Max Miller, interspersed with reggae. And he said, I'm supposed to be flying to Jamaica tomorrow, so I've got this problem. I've got to get rid of all this before we go. And it was obviously a whole table full of refreshment. So we laid into the task with gusto. There was shepherd's pie at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, was it?
With peas, and the guitars came out, and Keith played Wild Horses and a couple of others. He only played a bit of it, but to be sitting as close as you are, Keith with the big acoustic guitar that he eventually gave Alan, and it's the one he wrote, Jumping Jack Flash, and all the 70s stuff on. He gave it to Alan in 2000, Keith was on total form, and in the end he just went about 10 in the morning. He said, "Oh, fuck the plane," and he collapsed on the bed. So that was good, and from then on, me and Alan have been really good mates. We still are. Alan's just released one of the albums of the year with Hunter's Moon.
Right then, back again. Right, we just had a recent album out called Hunter's Moon, which I know Kris loved, and I hope you loved, and Kris gave us great reviews, which was brilliant. So it's a Christmas present for Kris and Nina as well. This is dedicated to, I asked him to say, well, Kris, pick a song off the album and I'll play it for you. And this is a song. And this song is about all artists everywhere, people like Kris, Nina, who do their work for not expecting a reward, doing it for the love. And well, it's called Pirates Don't Get Pensions. Out there who do it for love. Merry Christmas.
At one point in the guitar session, Keith said to Alan, "Right, it's your turn." And Alan was like, "Oh, really?" You know. And he sat there and he played a song called Gambler's Blues, and I've asked him to do that for us, and also a track on his new album called Pirates Don't Get Pensions, because I figured that's quite relevant in these parts.
And I doubt very much they do.
So, and they don't, to my knowledge. I don't. But anyway, so you know, I carried on. I'd see Keith every now and again. He's one of those people that even if you haven't seen him for like 10 years, you know, like the reason I got asked to go on the Primal Scream tour was because we'd all gone to see Keith at the Town and Country, and we were in the after show afterwards. And Keith walked in and he saw me and made a beeline over, and I hadn't seen him for 10 years or so. "How you doing, man?" You know, and obviously the Scream was sort of quite impressed. And that, you know, I spoke to him a couple of years ago on the phone. He phoned up my mum's house, and I was sitting on a hospital bed, and there's Keith on the other end. And I always remember I told him all about Jack, my dog, and I always remember he said, "Oh, Jack sounds great. Give him a stroke from me, man. So yeah, it's an ongoing thing. And in what year was this? 2004. I wrote this, Before They Make Me Run, and it's about me being. It's the story of my Keith exploits, my fan kind of journey, and yeah, Keith would love Binky, I tell you. And when it came out, Keith was at Redlands, and Alan used to go, and still does, goes and stays with him at Redlands, and they just sit around watching the cricket and whatever. And Keith sent Alan out to Chichester to pick up a copy of the book, and he got him to get a few copies. And apparently Keith was sitting there in the corner reading it, laughing his head off. And then he wrote this.
I can't read that without my eyes.
It says, and he thought this was quite funny, obviously.
She really wants this avatar. Binky!
Bing! He wrote, "You can't always get what you want, but sometimes you get what you need," with a capital N.
Boom, boom.
Yes, one love, Keith. Hang on, let me get my liquid death. Happy Christmas, and I hope your new year is a good one.
New beningings.
Reflected in the snow at night, flames from bridges set alight. I read it in the cards that night, and now it's you that travels light. I read it in the cards that night, and now it's you that travels light. There's something in my soul tonight, it's made from pure love and light. There's something in my soul tonight, it's made from pure sound and light. There's something in my soul tonight, it's made from pure love and light. There's something in my soul tonight, made from pure love and light. There's something in my soul tonight, made from pure love and light. There's something in my soul tonight, that's made of pure sound and light, love and light. There's something in my blood tonight that's telling me that you were right. There's nothing I regret I've done now that we've both found that sun. Can't put arms around memories or raise a glass to could have beens. Can't put arms around memories or raise a glass to could have beens. There's something in my blood tonight that's telling me that you were right. There's nothing I regret I've done now that we've both found that sun. Can't put arms around memories or raise a glass to could have beens. Can't put arms around memories or raise a glass to could have beens. There's something in my soul tonight, made from pure love and light. There's something in my soul tonight, it's made from pure sound and light. There's something in my soul tonight, it's made from pure love and light. There's something in my soul tonight, it's made from pure love and light. There's something in my soul tonight, it's made from pure love and light. There's something in my soul tonight, it's made from pure sound and light. Made from pure love and light.